What I have on the board are two different arguments about Percy. And so pretend that I had what you guys did as homework, which is you've got a whole bunch of different options. Okay? But all I have are these two, and we're just going to pretend I have a whole bunch of options. And I'm going to go through and I'm going to pick 2 or 3 arguments that I really like. That I'm like, dude, that argument really proves what I want to prove, which is that Percy is an awesome person. So the 2 I'm picking. Percy is an incredibly awesome person because he's willing to sacrifice his own reputation to do what is right. Everyone thinks Percy is stupid and walks around with a stupid expression on his face, like and in distinctly inane laugh. His wife even calls him the English turkey, and Percy doesn't try to defend himself at all. He's like an actor, only he never gets to be himself. He plays this part all the time, and everyone thinks it's the real Percy, which gives him a terrible reputation for being an idiot. Now, when you guys are writing your first paragraph, here's the trick. You can choose your own argument, or you can use the arguments of your classmates. In fact, you probably are going to use at least one argument from a classmate, because a paragraph does not have one argument in it. It has 2 or 3. So you have to have at least 2 arguments. So even if you use the argument that you wrote, you're going to have to use another. But here's the trick. You're not going to take them at sort of their face value. You're going to have to take that argument and you're going to have to clean it up and make it better. So here's my question. Here's what I want you discussing in groups. What in this argument needs to be cleaned up? What could be better? Please, can I not have the staring off into space? Can I have everyone involved in discussion with their group? What are we going to change? What are we going to make better? Go. Yes, you're going to change stuff.
Well, no, yeah, but I think 40 days, that's like 3 weeks. Oh, yeah. What? I can read now. You're looking at the show. Where they go like 6 sides, 5 glasses. Well, actually, what do you mean? Oh, no, you're right. Yeah, honestly, probably didn't check so much. 4 hours. 4 hours. This is only actually, I think you just say that he's a he's an no, they're annoying. Percy, I got all that. Or you can take out all that. I got I've always tested that.
Okay. What do you guys want to change? Yes. Group C.
The claim is evidence entirely, but the claim is matched up with the evidence they're giving.
Okay, so why do you say the claim doesn't match the evidence? Yes. It does, but does the commentary explain where the student is seeing awesome? Does the commentary tie back to the reputation? Really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it does tie back because we now have 2 ideas here. We have the big topic that he's awesome, and then the specific claim he's willing to sacrifice his reputation. So this gets up into the reputation, that idea of he has a terrible reputation, people think it's the real Percy. So we're into the claim, but we're not into the actual overall topic that the paper is about, which is he's awesome. So what do we need to add to our commentary? Yes, we've got to add that word awesome into the commentary. Like an actor, he never gets to be himself. He plays the part all the time and lets people think that that's the real Percy, which gives him a terrible reputation for being an idiot. Only a truly amazing and moral person would allow others to look down on them just to do what's right. Now, does the commentary kind of tie to both ideas? Yes. So we did have a problem with our commentary, but if you notice, one sentence fixed it. We also got a little bit of a problem with our vocabulary.
And distinct. And distinct. It should just be
Stupid expression on his face and
and.
a distinctly inane laugh. Better. That's a really low level word, and we have it twice right there in a row. Do you see how that feels a little awkward? When I read it out loud, did that feel a little awkward?
A little bit.
A little bit. So give me another word for stupid.
Imbecile.
I didn't. I was going to say if I spelled that right, I'm going to be shocked. He's an imbecile, comma, because that starts a new sentence here. And he walks around with a stupid expression on his face and a distinctly inane laugh. His wife even calls him the English jerky, and Percy doesn't try to defend himself at all. Is all of our evidence specific? Does it have embedded quotes? Does it prove that he has a terrible reputation? Okay. Does the commentary explain why that terrible reputation makes him a good person? So, is this argument ready to go? Okay, so your first job when you pick the two arguments that you're going to be picking, I hope you're taking notes on what we're doing here, because drawing in the margin is not going to help you in about 10 minutes when I turn you loose to do this on your own. So take notes. Specifically, what did we do on this writing that we've never had to do on an argument before? The commentary doesn't just have to match the claim, because here's the claim, here's the why I think that's true. The commentary also has to match the overall topic of the paper. So the big topic of this paper is that Percy is awesome. So the commentary can't just match the claim, it's also got to match the big topic, yes? What else did we have to do to make this better? Check your vocabulary. Make sure you're not repeating words. Specifically, make sure you're not repeating low-level words. And quite frankly, do I have any high-level words? The only high-level word I see is inane, and that's in quotes because it comes from Orsi. Can you guys, I keep telling you guys this, I'm looking for you guys to use the vocabulary that you're developing. Does anyone have a good high-level vocab word that we could naturally get to fit in here? I don't want it to be awkward. I don't want it to be weird. I just want to show up. I know some good vocab. What do you think would fit? In your groups, tell each other what vocab word would you put in here. Go. Aiden, talk to your group. Okay, group G, give me a vocab word.
Well, I think it kind of changed the sentence, but where it says second sentence, everyone thinks Percy's an imbecile.
Yep.
Instead, he insists to be like act as an imbecile.
And so your vocab word is insists?
I guess.
I think insistent might be better as an adjective. Insists, I think a lot of people use. So Percy is insistent about acting like an imbecile, and he walks around with a stupid expression and a distinctly inane laugh. Is that better? Yeah. Anyone else have a good vocab? Yeah.
Instead of right, you could use virtuous.
Where?
Like at the top, like he is willing to sacrifice his own reputation to do what is
Virtuous. I'm not sure I would do that just because it's a slightly old-fashioned word and it kind of doesn't feel like something a modern person would write. But maybe. Yeah. Okay, so now we're ready to remember a paragraph. Yes, I'm sorry, a word. Conscientious?
Yeah, conscientious.
Okay, where would you put conscientious? Because that's a great word.
To do what's right.
Top or bottom?
I'll put it at the bottom.
Okay, variable rotation, only to do. Okay. To act conscientiously. Again, I doubt I spelled it right. See, told you I didn't spell it right. Okay. So we have one argument all cleaned up, but a paragraph must have two. Here is your second argument. Percy is incredibly awesome because he saves lives. When he goes to Paris, he sets up various schemes to try and get nobles like the Comtesse de Tournai out of France. He dresses up as a captain of the guard with a squad of some dozen soldiers and convinces Grospierre, what the heck was that wording? I don't know well. And convinces Grospierre to let them all out of the gate because they are chasing escapees. And all the while, they are the escapees. If Percy were any less ethical, he would have cared about his own life. He would have stayed in England where he was safe. But he values saving others, and that's why he's willing to risk his life for others. Now, I will tell you one of the reasons why I would pick up this argument with this argument is what kind of reasoning do we have here?
Oh, he's really selfless.
He's like an actor. What kind of commentary is that? It's comparison. Da, 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 da. If Percy were any less ethical. That's contrast. Here's the deal when you're picking up arguments and deciding what to put together into a paragraph. If all of your arguments use the same type of commentary, so you're using contrast commentary all the time, then really all what you're doing is you're showing the reader that the only type of commentary you know how to do is contrast, and the writing will end up feeling very repetitive and very boring because the reader knows what's going to come next, and so there's no sense of suspense, there's no sense of power because it becomes repetitive. So one of the reasons why I would pair these two arguments is because these two arguments have different types of reasoning in the commentary, different types of commentary. So again, what is our first step once we pick which argument we want to use?
Modify it.
What did we do in the first argument?
Check it.
We checked it and we made sure that if there are any mistakes, we fix it, because once we hit copy paste, the argument is ours and we're responsible for any errors. So go through, look for any mistakes, look for any places that you can improve it. In your groups, talk through, what are you seeing? Go.
use two others.
He's trying to say it, but he's not.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Do we have any errors that need to be fixed? Let's do that first. Group C is like, heck yes. Yeah.
The whole last two sentences are very worded weird. They need vocab.
Okay, and we can certainly do that. And I would agree that the vocabulary here and the vocabulary in most of your arguments does need zhuzhing up. It needs to be made a little fancier. And by the way, that's fine. That's why we do a rough draft. You do a rough draft to get the content and the organization down. You then look at it and you change it to make the grammar better, the vocab better, to make sure it's worded well. And that's fine. But before I do that, I have an actual error that will cost me some pretty big points in this argument. Yes.
The commentary doesn't correlate on how he's awesome.
Yeah, and that's a very normal thing when you start doing paragraphs. You're used to connecting the commentary to the claim. You're not used to thinking about, dude, what's the big topic? What's the big thing I'm trying to prove? So we will have to fix that. But we have a problem that I would grade you down if I were grading this argument. Yeah.
You only have one club.
You what?
You have one club.
And that's okay. I'm fine with it having one quote. I'm not fine with... Yeah. You need the author's name. Even if the evidence doesn't have a quote, if the evidence is specific about what happened in the book, you have to cite it. And that would lose you some pretty big points right there. And we can reclaim those points and make sure that we're getting a higher grade by adding literally one word. So even if it's not a quote, if it is specific evidence from the reading, you must cite it. And of course, now we have the exact same problem we had above. And that is, are we talking about saving lives? Okay, well then let's get more specific. He would have stayed in England where he was safe. No, but he values saving others. It's right there. See? So are we going back to saving lives?
Yeah.
Yes, but what's the overall, the big picture, the big topic we're trying to prove?
Awesome.
Awesomeness. Do we have that? No, so let's get it in there. If Percy were any less ethical or... Can you give me another word? Awesome is feeling like maybe something I shouldn't have in formal writing.
Brilliant, outstanding, amazing,
Extravagant is a good word.
outstanding. Maybe we should use astonishing.
Okay. If Percy were any less ethical or amazing. Again, I added 2 words, but do I tie more closely to my topic now?
Yeah.
Yes. Sometimes editing is not about having to rewrite the whole thing or having to change big stuff. Editing is about knowing what has to be there. You have to have a link to your claim. You have to have a link to your big picture. And making sure that those required elements are in there. Sometimes kids act like, oh my gosh, I got a C. For me to rewrite this into an A paper would require a lot of effort. A lot of times getting from a C to an A is maybe one sentence added somewhere in the middle and then changing 2 or 3 different words. But the thing is, you have to know what should be there. You have to know what the rules are so that you know what words to add. Okay, so do we want to change any vocab? Do we want to, you guys said this was worded weirdly. What would you do?
There's 2 others at the last. Switch.
Okay, where he's safe, but he values saving others, and that's why he's willing to risk his life for others. So he values saving the innocent. Does that work better? Yeah, and sometimes when you read things out loud, you will hear that awkwardness and that weirdness, and you will be like, oh wait, that sounds awkward. And let me show you as soon as, there they are. Have any of you ever used a whisper phone?
What's that?
No.
It's two pieces of PVC pipe.
Oh, so you stretch it and then you talk into it.
But here's the deal, and by the way, if you use these, use the hand sanitizer and a Kleenex and wipe them out. Here's the thing with a whisper phone. It's just two pieces of PVC. But if you hold it up to your ear and talk into it, and you don't have to talk, the PVC will magnify your voice and it will alter your voice so it doesn't sound like you. And what that does is it almost gives the auditory part of your brain a break from thinking of the writing as yours, and it will listen to it as it's written. And a lot of the awkwardness, the repeated words, you can hear it much faster than you can read it. Because face it, we hear English more than we read English. So using a whisper phone is a way for you to read your work out loud to yourself. And literally, if you have the little tiniest whisper, you will still be able to hear it. But the whisper phone is a way for you to listen to your own work and see if it has any awkwardness to it. And the whisper phones are always over here on the artsy craftsy shelf. They're on this third shelf. You don't have to ask permission to grab something off the artsy craftsy shelf, okay? They actually do have like official teacher whisper phones, but they're stupidly expensive and Home Depot is cheap. So Home Depot for the win. So I am now ready to turn these two arguments into a paragraph. First of all, am I going to repeat Percy is an incredibly awesome person?
No.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take everything before the because, I'm going to delete it off so that I'm once again just starting with the claim the way we normally would. But what am I going to put up front? That one sentence. What's my big topic?
Why Percy's amazing.
Percy is an amazing person. Okay. Yeah, we kind of got rid of the awesome there. So, by the way, what is this sentence that is my big picture called?
Idea.
That's the topic sentence. A topic sentence is an umbrella, a big idea that you're trying to prove that multiple arguments will fit underneath of. Okay? So now I have my topic sentence, Percy as an amazing person, and I have two arguments. Now, here's the trick with these two arguments. Have you ever been writing and you feel like you don't know how to end the paragraph and you're just sort of writing and writing and writing and you feel like you're trailing off and you know that this is just getting worse, but you don't know how to stop? Have any of you ever had that feeling? Yeah, I'm seeing the looks on people's faces where they're like, yeah. That means your paragraph is organized wrong. I don't care if you're watching a movie, reading a book. Do events get more or less exciting as you go through the story? More. Where do you find the big explosions in a Marvel movie? Near the end. Because things get more and more and more exciting. And that's what makes you want to continue into the end. It's like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen next? But nonfiction follows the same rules. And if you're a good writer, you will also organize your arguments. And here's how you do it. You always want to put the strongest and best ideas at the end because that's your big finale, that's your big finish, that's your big bang. So, argument one, argument two. Which of them is stronger? In your groups, debate, and go.
I said the first one because
I don't
they're
know.
probably the right ones. But like,
Please stop petting your classmates.
I like us.
Exactly.
And that is now on the class video.
We won.
Second one's better.
What is? Yes, the second one. Yeah, just so the second one.
Okay, stop please. Which do you guys like more, 1 or 2? Give me a finger. 1 finger up, 2 fingers up. Okay, most of you like 1. And yeah, I can absolutely see that because the second one is a little obvious. Like, dude, everyone can see that. So I get that. So let's put that second. So now we're ready to start putting our paragraph together. Percy is an awesome person. First off, he saves lives. That transitions me into what my first argument is. So, and you can do a lot of different transitions. You can say something like, most obviously, or the characteristic most readers first notice. You can, in fact, leave the transition off your first argument because it's so early in the paragraph. The reader, after reading the topic sentence, do they know they're going into an argument? Yeah, so technically you can even leave off that first transition, although it won't read as smoothly. But realize you can have lots of different kinds of transitions. So you don't just have to choose a transition word, like first off. You can have something like the trait most readers notice first is that he saves lives. That transitions just as well. Okay? Am I going to do anything different in my argument? No, my argument is great. But if I just run these 2 arguments together, the danger is the readers are not going to realize you've switched to a new argument and they're going to get terribly confused. So what do I need before I can put the new argument there? I need a transition. And here's where we're going to get a little tricky. You organized these arguments in a specific way, yes? How did you organize these 2 arguments? You said that the second one was stronger, yes? Your transitions need to tell the reader that you intentionally organized the arguments that way. So, more importantly, more compellingly, a trait that's not only more important, but many readers are more likely to miss is you can transition a lot of different ways, but you need to tell me that the second argument is in fact stronger. More importantly, he's willing to sacrifice his own reputation to do what is virtuous. I have my whole argument. My paragraph is almost done. What do I need at the end of a paragraph?
A period.
A closure sentence. Now, the closure sentence should mirror the topic sentence. Okay? So it should be similar to the topic sentence, but can I do this and just copy paste? No. First of all, I need a closing transition. Can you say in conclusion? Yes. But that's the closing transition third graders learn to use. So, in short, in sum, in the final analysis, give me something other than in conclusion.
Based off.
Therefore is a great one. In short, therefore.
Can you do based off?
Based off all of this. Percy is an amazing person. Yes. Now, I do not want to repeat the topic sentence exactly, so please stop. I'm going to choose some synonyms. Instead of calling him Percy, I'm going to call him Percy Blakeney is fantastic, is feeling a little superhero-y. Awesome sauce is feeling a little slangy.
Kinda is a superhero though.
He kind of is. He inspired them. Is a noble and incredible man. Okay. So, last thing. Guys, up front you said Percy was amazing, yes? What did you then provide for me? Like, dude, all of this. Should your opinion that he's amazing, should it be stronger or weaker? You should have an intensifier on there because that conclusion should be your mic drop moment. That should be you going, booyah, told ya, totally I'm right. So you gotta get a little attitude in the closure. So I'm going to look for a word or words that intensify it and make it clear that you hold this opinion even more strongly. Therefore, Percy Blakeney is absolutely a noble and incredible man. So look at how the topic sentence and the closure relate. Percy is an amazing person. Therefore, Percy Blakeney is absolutely a noble and incredible man. 3 elements I'm looking for in the closure. A closing transition, an intensifier word, and I'm going to look for the ideas in the topic sentence in new words. 1, 2, 3. This, let me put it into, let me put it into a 12 font, which is standard. Let me double space. I gotta get closer. I can't see. I'm gonna go, where's my double space? Right there. If you hover over it, it says line spacing. I'm going to double space it. And because this is now officially a paragraph, what do I have to do with the first sentence? Indent! My Lord Almighty, I don't know why some of you don't indent. That, oh, is it 13? I can't see. I'm old. I'm blind. I gotta walk right up to my board to see it. 12 font is fine. 10, 11, or 12 font are all fine. It has to be a plain font. You can't be using like fancy fonts. If you turn something in Comic Sans, I reserve the right to ignore it. So this is an academic paragraph. I have a topic sentence that sets out my big picture. I have claims that tell why I believe that are opinions. Percy is amazing. Why do you believe that? Because he saves lives. Percy is amazing. Why do you believe that? Because he is willing to sacrifice his own reputation to do what is virtuous. Do I have 2 reasons why Percy is amazing? That's an academic paragraph where you show that there is a pattern of awesomeness, and each claim you have is fully developed into an argument. Yes?
So would it be easier just making 2 separate arguments with the same claim?
Yes.
And then merging them together?
Yep. And that's generally where we start. We start with 2 separate arguments that support the same claim, and then we merge them together into a paragraph. So what we've been writing so far, I have not been calling it a paragraph because it isn't. What we've been writing so far is an argument. An academic paragraph uses 2 or more arguments to show that there is a pattern. Make sense? Now here's the trick. Most of your paragraph is written because here's what you're going to do. You are going to go into the shared document. You are going to pick 2 arguments that show Marguerite is a terrible person. You are going to have to edit each of those 2 arguments so that it represents you as a writer. So you'll have to fix any mistakes. You'll have to clean up any vocab, clean up any grammar. You then take those 2 arguments and decide which one goes first. And what will you put at the end? Whichever one is better, stronger. You then need to clean up your claims so that they don't repeat the topic, create a topic sentence, add your transitions, create a closing sentence, and you're done. So essentially today, all you need to write is a topic sentence and a closing sentence and some transitions. Everything else is just cleaning up what is already written. Can you do that in 10 or 15 minutes? Can you write 2 sentences plus 2 transitions in 15 minutes? I am hoping the answer is yes. Yeah, I really hope the answer is yes.
So we're doing all today?
Yeah. So you are going to go into the Marguerite is a terrible person document. You are going to look through all of these arguments that were written. You're going to copy 2 of them. I will open up your paragraph assignment in a second. You are going to copy 2 of them, paste them into your own document, clean them up, and take those 2 arguments and make your first paragraph.
Are you allowed to do your own?
You can use your own argument. You can use anyone else's argument. So if you were a dork and only wrote your claim and did not finish your whole argument, you can still use other people's arguments, because what I'm going to be grading you on is how successfully do you transition argument to paragraph. So I'm going to be looking at topic sentences, transitions, the order of the arguments, and whether you cleaned up any mistakes that the original author included. Guys, the biggest one, we had to do it on both of the arguments. You have to make sure that your commentary touches base, not only with your claim, but also with your topic. Your topic is going to be Marguerite is a terrible person. So I need to see something about her being terrible in every bit of commentary.
So you said we had to write claim. I know that we have to write the conclusion, but so do we change the claim?
Yeah, if you once you copy and paste, you can change anything you want to on the original. So just copy it from that document into your document, and then you can change anything you want. Okay? Guys, this is due tomorrow, so maybe we should be... Yep, the assignment's up at the top of the classroom. Maybe we should be working. Just a second.